Are you looking at all the makeup around here? Hi everybody. Somebody wanted to be held right now, so she's making a little appearance. This is Miss Belle. And this is going to be a kind of holiday themed look. I showed a picture that sort of looked like this eye on Instagram recently, and a lot of people wanted a tutorial on it. And the catch for this video is that it's all drugstore brushes. I know I recently did my brush-free makeup tutorial, so now here is one with a bunch of drugstore brushes that I really love. Okay, so before we start, a little melasma update. As you can see, it's continuing to fade ever since giving birth to Belle. You know, there's that hormonal change in your body, and it's just kind of amazing how without any special skincare attention, any certain products, it's just kind of fading away on its own. So yay for that. Take a little sip of coffee here. And by the way, not necessarily every product I use in this video will be drugstore, but it's all about the brushes here. I might talk about the brushes a little bit more than I do the actual makeup that I'm using, but I am going to start off with my CoverGirl Outlast Stay Fabulous foundation. I am, what shade am I? Natural beige in this. And it seemed like for a lot of the time throughout the summer, this was a little light on me, so now it's getting back to kind of a workable shade. So I like to just use my fingers to spread it around. And then this is the Real Techniques buffing brush. Real Techniques has some really good synthetic brushes that can work for foundation, but this one, I really like the way I can buff in, as the name implies, and work in circular motions. It just does a really good job of that. I've been playing with this brush on and off with my Sigma brushes, you know, the kabuki style, really dense, soft brushes for foundation, and I love those so much. But I mean, this is less expensive and it does a really good job too. Real Techniques also has a brush called the Expert Face Brush, and it's not quite, it doesn't get quite as full as this one, you know, when you're blending around your face, but it's a good option too. For concealer today, I'm using this Sonia Kashuk All Covered Up Concealer. The shade is Ivory. I have raved about this concealer recently, and I'm just going to be dabbing this on the under eye area. This is just going to have a really great concealing and also brightening effect. I'm getting it like kind of all the way up to my lower lash line. I'm also going to go ahead and get a little bit of this around my nose where I know I've got some redness right there in that crease and kind of underneath. And then the brush I'm going to use to blend this in is actually the round foundation brush from Up and Up at Target. This is the older style. Now the Up and Up brushes look like this, but they still do sell one that's like this. And instead of just being like a flat foundation brush, it has this nice, you know, roundness right around the ferrule there. And it's nice for just patting in concealer. And the fact that it comes to a tip means you can easily get around those smaller areas like your nose and really use that tip. But when you want to lay it a little more flat, like here around your eye, you can do that, and then the tip also can get you right in there. And you'll notice for maximum coverage out of this concealer, I'm just patting the brush. I'm not really sweeping it across. I'm also going to take a little bit of this concealer right down my nose. It can kind of act like a cream highlight in that way. And man, don't you just start to feel a little more awake when you see those under eye circles get covered up? So now I want to use a little bit of powder, just a light amount, to set this under eye concealer and kind of mattify the area. I'm actually using a brush that would appear to be very similar to the one I just used, only this is more of a fluffy brush, and I like to use it for powder products. It's the e.l.f. Small Tapered brush. I'm using this little powder from the Sonia Kashuk Hidden Agenda concealer palette, tapping off the excess there, and I'm just going to dab this right over my under eye concealer. Only takes a tiny bit of product here. As you can see, I'm only dabbing into the powder and then still tapping off some excess. And then just patting right over the under eye. I'm going to apply just a little bit of powder all over the face. Not much, because I just think this matte foundation really doesn't require much. But I've been experimenting with this e.l.f. Pressed Mineral Foundation. The shade is beige. This product just has an awesome smooth texture. I'm just going to use a little bit of that with my Real Techniques blush brush. Amazing multitasker type brush. This can be powder, bronzer, blush, highlight in a pinch. I mean, it can just do so many things. It kind of reminds me of the e.l.f. complexion brush in that way. It can really multitask for you as well. I use these a lot just interchangeably. Here I'm just going to dab into the product, tap off some excess, and just lightly kind of dab this powder all over. I'm excited to do a review on this powder as well. I like the finish it leaves. It's not super duper matte. I'm going to stick to this same brush for my contour. I'm using the IT Cosmetics Radiance Ombre Bronzer, going down here to this matte part and just dabbing the tip in, and then just using that part to go right here in the hollow of the cheek. And then once you've got that product applied, you can really start working it in circular motions to blend it out. Sometimes I think we get into mode of thinking we really need a different brush for every single step on the face, and you really don't. I mean, sometimes there are circumstances where you really need to clean off a brush before you can move on to other steps, but beyond that, there are a lot of situations where one brush can do multiple functions. And I'm also going to take some of that right here around the hairline. Now I'm going to pop on some blush, and like I said, this brush could go ahead and do that for you, but for the purposes of this video, I do want to give you some other suggestions of great brushes, and I love the Up and Up blush brush. It's perfect for sweeping that blush on the apples of the cheeks, and I use this also for highlight a lot as well. And I'm using the Sonia Kashuk blush in Flushed. This is a powder blush. I usually do my face makeup before my eyes, and if I really don't know where I'm going with the eye makeup, like I'm not even sure what kinds of tones I want to use or whatever, this is a nice blush to throw on because I just feel like the color of this works for anything. It just makes your cheeks look like you naturally, you know, went outside and got cold and came back in, and that looks good for any eye makeup look. Now if I were using a cream blush, I would use my e.l.f. small stipple brush, and I am going to use a cream highlight, so this will come in handy for that. I'm using this Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector Spotlight, and this is in the shade Opal, and I just like to use my hand, get a little bit on there. And this is part of that 3-pack that I mentioned in my haul video, so check that out. I showed how each of the different shades looked. Then I just dab into that with this small stipple brush. This is just an ideal size. It's great because it applies so little pressure to the skin, and this is giving me just a beautiful shimmer right here on the cheeks. For my brows, I'm going to use my much loved Too Faced Brow Envy kit here, but I'm using a great angled brush from Real Techniques. It is called the Brow Brush, and while it looks like just a standard, you know, angled eyeliner brush, you can see it's a little thicker. So it works really great in the brows. I'm going to go into the setting wax part and just get a little bit of that applied through the brows. Doesn't take much, but a little bit on here gives the powders a little something to cling to. First off, I'm going to use the blonde, and just starting in here on that innermost part. And see how wide this brush is also from here to here, so it really covers a lot of area and gives you those nice straight lines in your application. And once I get to about mid-brow, I switch over to the brunette shade around the arch and the tail of the brow. Then just using a little bit of my NYX Control Freak brow gel to set that in place. Just takes a little. On the eyes, I'm starting out with some eye primer. This is Milani's eyeshadow primer. I swear, this is one of those products where I feel like, am I ever really gonna run out of this stuff? Because I feel like I've been using it forever, but it really takes so little. So I just dab that on the lid up to the brow. Then I'm using a couple of the eye palettes from the Belle Carousel collection from Too Faced. I have a full review on that, by the way, and a whole other tutorial on the Express channel. And after doing that, I had some requests for how to use this green quad, so I thought I'd work it in here. This is my Sonia Kashuk medium shadow brush. Love the medium and the small. They just are great to have and use interchangeably for colors on the lid. And I'm going into Frost, which is a shimmery kind of snow-like color. Gives us a really bright look there. Then I'm taking Tin Soldier. This is a great silver. Look at that gorgeous sheen this gives. Love it for the holidays. Then another fabulous brush from Sonia Kashuk is this large crease brush. This is kind of different compared to some of my other ones. It's like it's dense without being really fluffy, so it's a great like application type brush. So I'm gonna dip into this black called Santa's Boots. This brush just makes applying the crease colors really, really easy. It fits in there so well. Then I'm using my Sonia Kashuk small shadow brush. Great for applying deep colors and getting them exactly where you want them on your eye. And I'm just patting a little bit more of that black here in the outer corner. Slowly building up that color, adding a little to the crease as well. This is a little fluffy crease brush from Eco Tools. Came from their mineral kit. Really, there are so many good little crease brushes available in the drugstore. I think you could use about any of them and they would be fine for just blending out the shadow. That's all I'm doing here. I'm not adding product, I'm just blending out the darkness. Next I'm using one of the other little quads that's in that Belle Carousel set, and I'm using this peach shade called Boxes and Bows with my e.l.f. Studio crease brush. This is a really nice small sized crease brush. You could use it right in your crease, or it's great for taking color just up above. You've seen me use my Sigma E36 brush a lot in this way, and this brush is kind of the next best like drugstore alternative for that sort of thing. And then I'm going to use that brush to apply Nutcracker as my highlight just under the brow. This is again in the palette with the peachy shade. Then I'm going to apply some black gel liner on my upper lash line. This is my Essence liner in Midnight in Paris, and I'm using my Real Techniques fine liner brush for that. My absolute favorite way to apply that kind of product. It just gives me the perfect width of line. And then just glide it right across the lash line. This brush can also give you a really good wing if you just want to extend that liner out a little bit. Next is the really fun part. We're using a little pop of green here on the lower lash line. I'm using a shadow stick first as like a really long wearing base for this. This is the Milani Shadow Eyes in Green Safari. So first off, just kind of starting here at the outer corner, I'm going to take this just up under that wing. It doesn't have to be super precise right now because the shadow, once we get the shadow on there, it'll really finish the look. But then just draw this all the way in. Then I'm using this really fabulous little brush from Rite. It's like a smudger brush, really thick, very dense and soft. I'm using that to go into Christmas Tree, this shimmery emerald, and I'm just topping off that shadow stick with this emerald green. If you're not comfortable wearing a lot of colorful shadows on your eyes, this is a great way to add a little pop. You could sub this shade in for blue or purple. Any pretty jewel tone shade I think would look great on the lower lash line. And I'm giving the eyes a little extra pop by adding a white cream shadow stick to this inner rim here. So this is from Jordana 12 Hour Made to Last Pencil in Eternal White. These jumbo sticks are just amazing, all the things they can do. I'm going to curl my lashes using Tarte's Lights Camera Lashes mascara on the upper lashes. Then on the lower lash line, I love using this CoverGirl Lash Blast water resistant. Just a really great long wearing mascara. And then a brush that I don't necessarily talk about a whole lot, but I reach for it all the time. This is my Real Techniques brow and lash comb. This little metal comb here is just perfect for combing through these lower lashes. If I were wearing this look to a holiday party or something like that, I would totally rock some false lashes, so that's what I'm going to put on today. These are my Red Cherry number 43s. Applying some glue here. This happens to be the dark tone of the Revlon lash adhesive. And once that glue gets nice and tacky, just pop it on the upper lash line. Secure your outer corner and your inner corner. Make sure everything's laying against your skin, and then just blot a little mascara at the base of the lashes to make sure everything's hanging together here. Trying something new on my lips today. I got this Laura Geller Velvet Matte Lip Pencil set of 5. I thought I'd try combining a couple of them. I've got Silk Mauve here and Cocoa Velvet. I'm gonna apply the Silk Mauve first all over the lips. A little dry, but going on pretty smoothly for a matte lip product. I'm just going to see what happens if I add a little bit of this Cocoa Velvet on the outer corners. Just kind of blend across it with my finger. Really makes the lips look full when you leave just that little bit of lightness. And the same kind of thing up top here. Nice, I like that look. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. There are even more drugstore brushes that I like beyond what I just used in this video, but I thought it would give you a good idea of some brands to look into if you're trying to save money. In terms of large brush sets, I love Sigma. I've got some great brush sets from Sigma, but I know people aren't always looking to A, make that kind of investment, or B, you just need a few brushes to kind of fill out your collection. So hopefully this video helped you with that and gave you kind of a glam holiday look to try. So we're gonna go now. Thank you guys again and see you later. Bye. You say bye? She says no, but I can give you a pouty lip. Bye.